Alien Treason.
Chapter 2. Seeds of Eden. Why was Eden created? Long before a single human campfire cracked open the darkness, Earth followed its own wild mathematics. Rivers carved winding paths, mountains groaned and cracked beneath the patient hands of time, and primitive primates, ancestors who would one day stand upright, wielding tools, still tested their strength, stone against bone. It was into this pristine world that Zuva's explorer frigate eased silently through the upper atmosphere, quiet as a whispered thought. They selected a wide, empty floodplain, untouched by hooves or paws. Using graviton winches, Zuva and his team redirected 4 snowmelt rivers, braiding their channels into a cross. The Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates, names future civilizations would echo in sacred scrolls. Between these new waterways, the soil was meticulously laser-tilled, enriched with precious trace metals lifted directly from Agal's ancient orchards. It was decided no animals would populate this pristine cradle. Eden was designed solely as a botanical sanctuary. Then came the precious cargo, 6 saplings from Agal's legendary silent orchard, seedless, ageless, priceless. Each was lowered gently into magnetically cushioned soil pits, surrounded lovingly by familiar flora from Agal itself. Flowering creepers, glowing mosses, and silver sap shrubs. Zuva hoped these familiar companions would coax the orchard awake, making the trees feel safe enough to blossom in their new home. To sustain Eden's delicate climate, atmospheric drones diffused morning mist, recreating the gentle vapors older scriptures would later poetically recall. Each drone hovered silently, shielded within bronze shells, their slender plasma filaments destined to become legendary flaming swords, primed to sever any threat before it reached the precious trees. With Eden sealed, Zuva withdrew his survey skiff into orbit, closely monitoring from above. For centuries on Earth, mere decades on Agal, telemetry data flowed steadily. Chlorophyll levels perfect, soil chemistry flawless. But stubbornly, the fruit yield projections refused to budge. The crew aboard Arcseed 1 grew restless, lulled by predictable data streams. Only Zuva remained unsettled, unwilling to trust mere numbers. Ignoring standard protocol sealed within his silver articulated suit, he ventured beyond the garden's containment fence, breathing in humid fragrances of cedar, iron-rich earth, and verdant life through filtered suit vents. Each step sank ankle-deep into soil untamed, wild with Earth's primordial energy. Rafa, the senior researcher and epitome of Agal protocol, watched uneasily from the command dome as Zuva repeatedly defied cautious warnings. Irritated by Zuva's reckless independence, Rafa secretly dispatched a stealth scout drone to broadcast the prince's adventures throughout the ship. Soon the crew placed wagers on the unpredictable exploits of their infamous golden clone. They didn't wait long. Early one dawn, the live feed captured Zuva crouched beside a dying feline predator, a sleek, 6-taloned beast whose emerald eyes dimmed with pain. Ignoring all regulations, Zuva carried the wounded animal into Eden's shadowy undergrowth, mending its flesh with Agal medgel, whispering assurances no microphone could capture. He stayed until the creature's breaths steadied into peaceful sleep. Rafa immediately compiled the breach footage into a damning dossier, alerting Captain Atka, who stormed back from Mars aboard his fusion-powered cruiser. The confrontation in operations was explosive. You risked alien pathogens contaminating a sealed ecosystem, Rafa thundered furiously. The garden is dying from isolation, Zuva countered calmly, summoning graphs in midair. The orchard's productivity had flatlined, exactly matching Aga's declining pattern. We've recreated a sterile Aga here. The trees won't thrive until they're given Earth itself. Captain Atkar remembered King Ra's final whispered instruction. Let the boy bend the frame if the glass starts to crack. He offered a compromise. Remove the beast. Observe one full Earth century. If the orchard still stagnated, Eden's fences would fall. Rafa bristled but conceded grudgingly, realizing the sterile numbers no longer favored his orthodox approach. Privately, Zuva pushed further. Secretly extracting feline DNA, he carefully spliced it with the silent orchard's mycelia, cultivating a living hybrid, a new body attuned to his quantum signature. By day, he trudged through Eden's pathways encased in protective armor. By moonlight, he roamed the wild freely, reborn into sinewy feline form, experiencing Earth in raw sensory brilliance, sense rich as poetry, heartbeats pulsing through the soil itself, minerals tasted on distant winds. Barely decades passed on Aga, and still Eden's bore no sign of hope. Zuva, without hesitation, unlocked Eden's gates wide, inviting Earth fully into the orchard. Rafa raged, miners gaped, crew members crowded viewport windows, amazed and anxious. Zuva began planting common Earth fruits, apples, figs, pomegranates, to attract pollinators and wildlife. Within months, Eden thrived in noisy, exuberant chaos, animals nesting, creepers winding lovingly around silent orchard trunks, glowing insects dancing nightly. Yet inexplicably, animals avoided touching the ageless titans themselves. One twilight, a lone primate cautiously entered Eden, freezing at the impossible sight of predators peacefully sharing space with prey beneath Eden's luminous canopy. The primate tentatively approached the nearest tree of life and waited. Nothing happened. It remained unharmed. It chooses, Zuva whispered reverently. The orchard is sentient. Nobody dared dispute him. The proof stood clear before their eyes. 4 more Earth centuries rolled onward. Finally, the orchard's leaves flushed amber, heralding a record fruiting. But lab analyses brought crushing news. The fruit had changed. Now lethal to Agals, yet capable of granting long life to primitive Earth primates. Panic seized Eden. Rafa issued quarantine orders. Voru demanded Zuva's removal, and frightened creatures were stunned and expelled from the garden. In emergency council, Voru shouted desperately. Primate contact contaminated the orchard. Mission compromised. Zuva merely folded his arms calmly. We've learned more here in a single cycle than in 600 stagnant Aga years. The trees demand something new. Captain Atkar studied Zuva cautiously. What do you propose? A new caretaker species, Zuva answered boldly. Hybrid beings combining our genetic essence with Earth's. Outrage erupted. Rafa denounced it as sacrilege. Voru insisted on Zuva's immediate exile. Cornered by bureaucracy, Atkar placed Rafa in charge and demanded Zuva submit formal proposals. Decades crawled by. Rafa's traditional methods, soil treatments, grafting attempts, electromagnetic serenades, proved futile. Meanwhile, Zuva roamed the wilds secretly in feline form, studying primates intimately, analyzing their chemistry heartbeat by heartbeat. Realizing the orchard wasn't toxic, it was prescribing a new genome. A century passed before even stubborn Rafa conceded defeat. King Ra's terse message flashed back. Proceed, Zuva. Quietly, meticulously, Zuva began genetic experiments. Many hybrids failed, cellular rebellions erupting. Yet, stubbornly, a few lived. Each success formed a blueprint, a step closer to Zuva's ultimate vision. At last, he opened the ancestral Agal genome. Within dim-lit labs, he threaded Agal Nurax strands through primate embryos, buffering cellular shock with enzymes from Eden itself. Pods glowed like miniature moons, cradling the unthinkable fusion of two worlds. Then, in poetic defiance of cosmic rules, the fiery essence of Muspelheim, the Agal spark, met Earth's icy Niflheim, primitive primate flesh, in the yawning Ginnungagap of genetic artistry. Frost and fire mingled, spinning vapor into marrow, shaping titans forged from two separate realms. When amber-ringed eyes finally blinked open beneath Eden's soft twilight, fingers stretched toward the sky. The first true Earth-Agal hybrids drew breath, marking the dawn of the ice giants, the Neanderthals.